All right, everyone, welcome to Sour Horsepower, and today we're taking a look at this 2021 Dodge Challenger Super Stock. All right, so as you can see here, we have the Super Stock in the Frostbite blue color. Wide body, of course, for the Super Stock. And so let's point out some of the interesting things as we walk around the vehicle. So obviously one of the big deals here is that you get the Demon wheels on the Super Stock. So you get, there are 18 by 10s and then 315 40 R18s on the front, and it's drag radials on all four corners, same size on the back. All right, so on the front of this Challenger, you see here we have the hood pins, $425 option. We also have the black racing stripes, the dual racing stripes. Now let's go ahead, walk around here. So there's really no exterior differences other than the wheels that you can tell the difference between a regular Hellcat Redeye or a Super Stock. All of the differences are going to be under the suspension, and then that's really that much it. And then some of the software when it comes to like trans brake and all that other stuff, the drag racing goodies from the Demon. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interior real quick before we talk about the rest of the drag racing stuff, which we will do when we're looking at the radio here. But as you can see, he has the Laguna leather upgrade. Very, very, very nice seats, super soft. Standard interior here, nothing too fancy on the Dodge Challengers, but it does get the job done. Nice white stitching, wrap dash, wrap door cards. Oh, and then the piping around the floor mats here. This is all very, very nice stuff. Let's take a look here at all the options on this one. So as you can see, the optional equipment group here for the Super Stock is a $20,600 surcharge over the regular Hellcat Redeye. Well, that includes a 1-year NHRA membership. You get the wide body fender flares, of course, the power chiller, the smaller brakes, which actually, let's take a look at those since I missed talking about them. So actually, since we have my Hellcat Redeye here, let's go do a comparison. So as you can see here, the standard Hellcat Redeyes come with 6-piston Brembo brakes on the front, very large calipers and rotors. And you can see here, they put smaller 4 pistons on the front, very similar size to what the Scat Packs come with standard. And what that does is allows or saves some weight, so that way, you know, you can go faster down the drag strip. So let's go back here, take a look at what other options we got here. Plus package, so it gives you the front ventilated seats, and then premium stitch dash panel, driver convenience group, so you get your blind spot, leather Laguna package, as you can see, beautiful seats, the SRT embossed there. The automatic transmission, which is standard on the Super Stock, you cannot get it in a manual. Black hood pin kit, gunmetal stripes, gas guzzler tax. Total price, $90,370. Fuel economy, just because it's here, but in reality, probably not going to be getting that because you're going to be having too much fun at the drag strip. All right, so we are here in the Super Stock. Let's go ahead and start it up. Let's take a look at whatever graphic comes up here. Let's see. I'm not too sure exactly what comes up, but let's see if it's any different. Just the regular Hellcat Redeye. Still good enough. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to turn on some AC because it is absolutely boiling in here. Music off. We're going to go here to the performance pages. All right, so let's start while the performance pages are loading, I guess. We'll go ahead and hit the SRT button. All right, so let's take a look here. This is actually a completely different screen to my Hellcat Redeye. And I'll insert a little side-by-side clip right here so you can see the difference between just the traditional landing screen from pressing the SRT button. So you do still have the very similar, you know, track, sport, custom, and auto across the top. But instead of getting the, like all of the suspension and all those settings, you get your launch control right off the bat, your pre-stage stuff, so your shift lights, your power chiller, your line lock, And then post-race, you have your race cooldown button all right here on the very first landing page. On my car, you kind of got to hunt around in the menus for it, which I'll show you here in a bit. But let's go ahead. One cool thing about, so 2019 Hellcat Redeyes, you don't have independent control of the power chiller. Now on the new cars, you do. So you can just hit this button right there, and then boom, your power chiller starts running. It's super convenient. I wish they had it originally in 2019s, but I think it was a new introduced in 2020. If not, definitely 2021, obviously. Now it turns on. It didn't turn on the first time. So when it does activate, you'll see a little green button there. But that allows you to cool down the intercooler temperature, the intercooler coolant temperature, I should say, making your intake temps lower, which gives you obviously more power. So let's go ahead and go through. So let's hit drive modes. So here's the traditional screen on which my 2019 Hellcat Redeye lands on. So obviously you have 807 horsepower, and then your race options down here: valet, eco mode. We don't do eco mode, but your auto setup. So you can go ahead and click this button right there, and then this will be your default settings whenever you jump in the car. So you can go ahead and set it to track. Actually, they have these grayed out. See, now we're learning something here. So in auto mode, you cannot access any additional trans modes or traction modes. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the SRT dashboard, is what it's called. Performance pages, we'll take a look at those in a second. Here's your launch control. Now, I made a video on if you should use launch control with the track. I do not. I'll go and put that card up here right now if you're interested on how to launch your Hellcat Redeye, or any Hellcat really, at the track. Let's go ahead and look at the race options page. So this is the standard race options page like I have on my Redeye, except I don't have this chiller button. I do have the line lock, launch control, shift light, and race cooldown, which actually they're kind of in a different order on my car. The line lock's down here, the race cooldown's here, launch control's up here. So yeah, a little bit of redesign in the software aspect when it comes to the racing options. A line lock, you just, you press that if you want to do. Oh, look, it even changes, gives you a nice little smoky burnout image. How awesome is that? So let's take a look at the performance pages and see if there's any difference here. Not really, from what I can tell. It all looks pretty much the same. This is actually different. We'll show you on my car what the difference is, but they have the recents, last best. A little bit different than what I have on my car, but the drag and the accel and braking is actually, yeah, completely different. I don't even have the two different modes there for the different timers, so that's new. Anything else new? Gauges. You got multiple pages of gauges up here, so you can go through. See 3 pages of gauges. G-force meter, that's the same. Engine dyno, that's the same, or engine power, and then you have the dyno graph. So if you can see here, you get a little gas, and it shows up on the dyno how much power you're making. All right, so largely the same interior compared to my Hellcat Redeye. Obviously, it's got the different seats with the leather, whereas mine is the suede, or the Alcantara and the leather. So, but those can all be swapped around. They're not specific options to either the super stock or the standard Redeye. But the only real differences, by looking around, is the stuff in the software that we just went over. That's when it comes to, interior wise. Now the exterior, like I said, you do have the Demon suspension, all the Demon rear end parts, which is the same on it basically every Redeye. Well, not basically every Redeye. Smaller brakes, a little bit lighter weight. I'm pretty sure they took a little bit of weight out of this car. Some of the sound deadening stuff like that the Demon did. But if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll put any captions along the bottom here. Overall, they only say, well, from what I've seen, the super stock is roughly 0.2 to 0.3 faster than a standard Hellcat Redeye. Now, this over a wide body would be a little bit more different, but my standard Redeye, if you're a fan of the channel, we have one of the fastest Redeyes in the country, and some very good weather. We ran 10.00. They say the super stock will run 10.0, I believe, is what Dodge says. But they have been running slightly faster than 9.8s, 9.9s, which is where they should be, about 0.2 to 0.3 faster than your standard Hellcat Redeye wide body. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get on the road. I'm going to drive it. Now, this is going to be my first time driving a wide body on some twisty roads. If you saw my last video, we just did a wide body 1,000 horsepower regular Hellcat Redeye, but we were kind of ripping that on the highway. This is gonna be my first time testing a wide body on some not slippery roads. What am I thinking? On some twisty roads. And not only is it a super stock, but it's got the drag radials on all four corners. So we will see how this goes. I have absolutely no clue, but let's go ahead and get on the road and find out. All right, everyone, let's hit the road in this super stock. We will start off in sport mode. Let me make sure that's everything. All right, paddle shifters are on. Take it easy getting out of here. Can we make it? Can we make it? I think we can make it. Yeah, we can make it. All right, super stock, first drive. My second drive in a wide body, and first wide body drive on some twisty roads. So let's see how she does. All right, so initially, even in sport mode, this is a lot softer than my Hellcat Redeye, like noticeably softer. All right, so we're gonna do a little roll on here. Third gear, 3,000 RPM, about 37, 38 miles an hour, and yeah, it grips. Yep, so the two things off the bat, it has grip, and the brakes are not as good, which is to be expected because it is 4-piston instead of 6-piston. So they are definitely the standard like Scat Pack brakes, which are good for a Scat Pack, but at 800 horsepower, it's a little bit different. Leaves you a little bit more to be desired, but to be honest, we are not in the traditional territory for which this car was designed for. So we'll cut us some slack there. Now let's go ahead and see how it does in these corners. A little floaty going in. Still grip though. It's not like too crazy. It's not breaking loose or anything, not sliding. Like when I say sliding, I'm talking about the front end. Like the front end is still super planted. It doesn't feel like it's going to push off the road with understeer. Downshift a little bit. So the power is definitely easier to use. The softer suspension definitely allows it to put the power down. The wide wheels and tires, the drag radials, definitely allow the power to stick. If I did that sort of acceleration in my car, rear end would have been dancing around a little bit. So now we're stuck behind this truck. So we're gonna go up here, flip around, come back the other way, and do some more impressions on the way back, basically down the hill.
Crazy thing is on a single stop, obviously, because of the wider tire, if you slam your foot in it 60 to 0, this is actually supposed to outstop a regular Redeye because of the tires. But it would only work once.
Yeah. And then after that, the brakes are toast and
right.
Yeah. It's definitely not as bad as people made it out to believe. Like I'm not pushing it anywhere near its limit because I don't know these tires, and especially on the front. So it's like I don't want to even flirt with that idea. But yeah, it's not terrible.
No, so there is a definite difference in between the wide body Redeye that I owned and this one in the cornering aspect.
Yeah.
But getting on it, like I said, this is actually,
it just plants it and goes. Yeah. It's actually, yeah, because that one pull I did was third gear, and it just went. My car would have been, dancing all over the back, even over the bumps. The bumps really kill my car. As soon as it unloads and it comes back down, that's when it gets super squirrely. But yeah, it's this is completely different, and like it's good in the aspect that it has traction, but it definitely doesn't handle as good as mine. So.
No, I'm not
not a corner carver. All right, we flipped around. We're gonna do a second gear hit now. Second gear, 20 miles an hour, 2,500 RPM. didn't even barely spin. It barely spun. Like, it just a little bit on the initial hit, but that was not, it wasn't a whack from 0 to full throttle. It was like more of like a progressive, but like I got on it, you know, pretty quickly, full throttle, and didn't even spin. This would absolutely destroy my car on the street. Absolutely destroy it, because my car would have lit the tires up for 400 yards back there. Yeah, this is good. Traction is good. Now, depends on your use case for the car. If you just want something to cruise around, you know, not go out and hit back roads or anything like that. If you're not looking for a car with necessarily great handling, or we'll say good handling, because it's a Challenger, it's not great overall. But if you just want a nice, comfortable cruiser that has traction with the 800 horsepower, you really can't go wrong with the Super Stock. And you go to the track, you know, you're all set up. You really don't even need to change anything unless you want to put some skinnier front tires on it. But you can take this and go run a low 10, and if you have good weather, a high 9. Like, what more could you ask for in a big, modern muscle car? Let's go ahead and test out the cornering capabilities a little bit more. We're going to dial it up a couple notches, not too much. I still don't trust these front tires per se, because they are drag radials, not a standard road tire. But let's see here. The grip! My gosh, it has grip. Okay, it's really not that bad, guys. It's really not that bad. Where it makes up all of its ground coming out of a corner. Because unlike my car, you can actually use all 800 horsepower. It has grip. Like, now we're throwing it around this corner. We're going 45 miles an hour. It's good. There's a little bit of body roll. Obviously, we're not even in track mode, just in sport mode. But a little bit of body roll, but it's manageable. It's faster than, you know, faster than you would really ever need to go on a back road. Or just fast enough, we'll say. Like, I mean, obviously you can go faster, but where it shines is that grip coming out of the corners. Oh my gosh. That is surprising. Now we're going to do a little dig hit up here. See how she does right off the bat. So I'm not going to use launch control or anything. I'm just going to go off the foot. Old torque reserve, you hear that? Little floaty on these bumps. Like I said, the suspension is softer, but man, I was able to get the full throttle so much quicker than my car. So much quicker. Wow. You can actually hear the torque reserve. I'm going to get an exhaust clip of that torque reserve when we park. Yeah, that was because my car, the standard Hellcat Redeye, does not come with that torque reserve. It's a very noticeable difference in the exhaust. I'll put it back to back right here. So we're going to do one more little quick rip in track mode. Greg here told me that it is significantly different than sport mode. So let's put that to the test. Let's see exactly how much. Oh, plus we get the power chiller coming on. I didn't even use that at all. So let's do SRT dashboard. I would think the chiller automatically is on because we're in track mode. So, all right, third gear, manual mode. Actually, we'll wait until we get up here until around the next corner. Actually, no, we'll do it because then this will give us. All right, third gear, 40 miles an hour, floor it. Yeah, it stiffens up. Definitely stiffens up. You can definitely feel a lot more of the bumps. Do another quick rip here. Trying not to overcook the brakes. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
The front end off the dig comes up a lot more.
Yeah. Definitely squats a lot harder. Well, yeah, squats a lot harder in the rear, making it, allowing it to have even more traction. All right, track mode, manual mode, torque reserve. It's a bouncy ride over those bumps down there. That's why we got to let off. We don't want to we don't want to leave the pavement. We need all 4 of the tires on the pavement. But yeah, it's good. So much more grip. So much more grip. I'm sure even compared to your wide body, you noticed.
Yeah, I had a hard
miles.
time. I had a hard time cutting a 60 foot in my wide body, and this does it easy.
Yeah, it's so good. Again, thank you so much for letting me drive. This is actually one of my subscribers. He contacted me, said he had one, and he lived in the area. So thank you so much again for letting me do this. This car is fantastic. Completely different characteristics to the standard Hellcat Redeye. Softer, more comfortable to cruise, but absolute weapon when it comes to putting the traction down. You don't lack for traction at all in this car. So that is one of the huge advantages to having the super stock. Yeah, it's definitely good. It's definitely good. What they did with the suspension and the tires, it's a much more manageable experience to drive. So yeah.
Everybody's like, they're not streetable.
That pretty streetable to me. It worked pretty good right there. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give us a like. Comment below your thoughts on the Challenger SRT Superstock. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Again, thank you to Greg here.